Bone density loss, gum disease, recession, and dental breakdown are showing up in people on psychiatric medications, other medications, or with toxic exposures. And almost no one is talking about it until right now. Today, we're breaking down the science of rebuilding oral and bone health naturally. We are your whistleblowing shrinks, Dr. Teralyn and therapist Jenn, and this is the Gaslit Truth Podcast. Before we set this whole conversation ablaze, like, subscribe, ring the bell. Supporting it matters.
And just remember, everybody, Dr. Teralyn and I are deep prescribers. What does that mean? That means that we can help you get off of psychiatric medications safely for the brain and for the body. So therapy is not the only gig we do. So if you're interested in doing something like that, give us a holler. Send us an email at thegaslittruthpodcast@gmail.com. And I'm going to introduce our guest today, Stephen Hewer. Is it Hewer? I didn't even ask you how to say your
correct pronunciation.
All right.
Well done. That's
Perfect.
Real.
All right. Look at that. All right. We got to welcome Stephen Hewer to the show. Trained in nutrition through the American College of what is this? Nutrition.
Yeah.
These are big words for me, Stephen. I have never had someone train like specifically in
nutrition to treat pathology. So nutra-pathology. Yeah.
I think I might have found a new degree to pursue, but anyway,
okay,
go ahead.
Let's do it. Okay, people, he's trained from the American College of Naturopathy. All right, Stephen's work began after mercury poisoning at the age of 15, and driven by decades-long focus on how the body rebuilds after disruption. Can't wait to talk about that. Since 1990, his clinical work has centered on restoring structural health with a particular emphasis on bone density, jawbone integrity, and long-term dental and gum health. So today he's going to bring that lens to this question that most people are not asking, which is how do you actually rebuild what's been lost? And what I love even more is the idea that you actually can rebuild what's been lost.
Yep, exactly.
That's what it's about.
A lot of people have lost faith in our culture. We've been raised to believe that you treat symptoms. You know, there's all these specialists, whether it's a neurologist, a nephrologist, you know, and they specialize in an organ, and yet the body's all interconnected. And so from your gut microbiome to your mental health, it's all connected. And so you have to do the whole thing. When people come to me, they say, well, I want to just do this. I says, no, your body's interconnected. You have to do all this to get that to be fixed. So, you know, and the same thing with bone loss, it's multifactorial. There could be just, you know, pH problems. You can have bone loss when you're younger because you're super acidic. But for the most part, it happens when you're older because your body's deficient in a specific form of calcium that you make efficiently when you're up to age 35, but after age 35, like a lot of factors of youth, it starts to decline in your production. And so that particular form of calcium is called ionic calcium. And it's actually chemically represented as individual atoms of calcium missing 2 electrons. So it's called Ca2+. And that's what people are missing. And so when the body goes deficient in that, the parathyroid is monitoring this. So you got 4 dots of tissue on your thyroid gland called the parathyroid. It's monitoring the levels of this specific form of calcium called ionic calcium. When your ionic calcium levels drop below 51%, parathyroid says there's an emergency. So it goes to work and it says, I'm going to compensate and produce parathyroid hormone, which does 2 things. It makes you absorb calcium more efficiently through the digestive tract, but it also causes you to dissolve bone to compensate. And so primary bone loss happens when you're older because of the parathyroid hormone being turned on all the time. You dissolve bone, the calcium comes out of the bone as calcium phosphorus crystal that the body cannot use as ionic calcium, so it doesn't solve the problem. And then in that chemistry state, the body cannot reabsorb the calcium phosphorus crystal. And so the calcium phosphorus crystal, some of it will eliminate, but some of it starts to deposit in the soft tissues. So you start to develop calcification of your arteries, your heart valves, your soft tissues, your organs. And if you start to take pure ionic calcium and raise your levels back up to the 51% in your blood, the parathyroid shuts off. And you start to change all this, and you start to make bone, you start to reverse calcium that's pathogenically deposited, you start to reverse that. So you can have clean arteries again, free of calcium buildup, and get rid of your calcium crystals wherever they are, kidney stones, whatever. There's a combination of cofactor nutrients needed too, but that's the main missing form of calcium that nobody out there that, you know, sells calcium supplements is addressing.
What was that again? Because you're going real fast. And I'm like, you gotta talk like I'm a 5th grader, Stephen.
So,
really.
So Stephen, here's what I'm hearing. Because I think I picked up like a tenth of what you said. So this ionic calcium, right, is a thing. And when it decreases, which is going to happen at certain stages, like stages age, especially that you're talking about, the thyroid goes emergency, emergency, emergency.
Yeah, parathyroid.
The parathyroid, right? Then that just kicks into high gear. The body can't start to reabsorb. Things start to crystallize. It gets deposited into soft tissue, and then bone density starts to go down the toilet.
Yeah, exactly. Bone loss is happening at the same time.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. You're
Nicely
so
done, Jen. That was amazing.
I wrote some notes, for the love of God. Okay. So, before we so tell us how we're going to dive more into that, because you're going to have to re-explain some of it, but how did you get to this truth, Stephen? How did you get on this
I
path?
met a man at a trade show in late 1990s, like 1999, 2000, who said that he developed this form of calcium it's directly usable by the blood as blood plasma calcium. And I didn't understand at the time what that meant. I focused on pH because I got trained in the American College of Naturopathy, gives you this broad education in nutrition, but it focused its work on Dr. Kerry Reams. And Dr. Kerry Reams was a famous soil biologist that figured out soil fertility and how to transform crops into super healthy crops and be disease-free. And he also figured out some of the human body biochemistry and applied that knowledge to that. And it was largely pH regulated. So the body pH has to be in a certain window. So that was my focus. So he also said this product helps alkalinize the body. So that's what caught my attention. So I said, okay, I'm all over this. I want to carry this in my practice. So I started to carry it. And along with several other products that I sell, I had this one lady reverse her gum recession in 6 months. She was told by her doctor that's not reversible.
This is what I've heard, but wait, I want to slow this down for a minute, because the gum health, recession, and gum disease problem is so prevalent in our population. And this is why we have Stephen on the show here today, because Jen and I see dental and oral health go down the tubes when you're on psychiatric medication, whether it's people who have had to remove all their teeth and get dentures, or people who struggle with gum disease or gum loss, and they've been told it is not reversible. And so that's why you're here on this show, to really hone this in case everyone was wondering, why are we talking about your teeth, right? This is exactly why, because the things that we put in our body can either help us or hurt us when it comes to oral hygiene. So here we are. All right, Go ahead. Sorry. Yes. Yeah. All right. So let's talk, because part of the issue with oral hygiene for our population is the something with the saliva, lack of saliva, like constant dry mouth and things like that cause problems with your gums first, and then your teeth. And things
but now
like
I'm curious about this calcium channel stuff and
Yes.
how actually
Yes.
changing the brain. And when we're changing, because hey, it's all connected, everybody, right?
Mhm.
When we change how the brain is organically operating, are we starting to alter some of how this calcium is produced, right? Stephen, this idea, I'm so curious. We're not going to go down this rabbit hole, but when you talked about age, I feel like, yes, from the scientific mindset, we know that at a certain age, like how calcium is produced is going to alter, how collagen is produced. Like we know that, but I still can't seem to help to wonder, is it so much age, or is it when 70% of our population is taking something that is altering their brain state and how the body communicates and produces these things, right? We're going to rob Peter to pay Paul in our hormones when we're screwing up our serotonin channels here. What if that's part of the picture too? And it's less about age and it's more about these other things that we are putting in our body that alter 70% of the population's brain.
It's a combination, because even before people were on psychiatric medication, it is very, very traditional and common for people to have gum recession and tooth loss in their 70s and 80s. Sometimes sooner, depending upon how they treated their body as they grew up and lived,
Fair.
So independent of medications which do interfere with biochemistry, it is an inevitable outcome that the deficiency happens unless you're doing something, you're living on a regenerative diet. you're like putting foods into your body that are living. Like I advocate a raw living foods diet, like 100% if you can do it.
Yeah.
But that takes time to change your digestive microbiome to make it all work. Like I know a guy named Lou Corona who's like 75, but he looks like he's 42 and he functions like he's 21. And
Lou,
he's Hercules.
All right.
He's super strong, but he lives on this super strict diet that, very few people can get their mind around first, let alone do it. But yeah, so when you take a psychiatric medication and you're going to interrupt the enzymes of your brain from breaking down a neurotransmitter, so you have more serotonin in the nervous system longer, or more epinephrine, norepinephrine, dopamine in the nervous system longer, you are the synaptic cleft which receives the neurotransmitter is being told to continue to be signaled to either be excited or to be inhibition.
Exactly.
And
Korean heart. Korean heart. Yeah.
It's great.
We're giving you hearts.
We're hearting you right now.
Of love.
Yeah, lots of love happening right now. Like you're,
thanks for doing what you're doing, enlightening all the people you're helping. It's so basically I've learned along the way that I read an article way back when, in like early 1990s, it showed the incidence of people on SSRIs either committing suicide or killing somebody else. And so then the article draws, or the information that I learned along the way says that these synaptic clefts that receive the neurotransmitters, if they're not just doing their thing and regulated naturally in your brain by nature to do its job of either exciting the nervous system or inhibiting the nervous system, and then being recycled, removed, then the synaptic cleft gets burned out. It's like you end up losing the ability to have the signal, because the actual catcher's mitt that receives the inhibitory neurotransmitter or the excitatory neurotransmitter is gone. So you have fewer inhibition signals for if you're on an SSRI. And so if you're temporarily, your SSRI levels are lower or whatever in terms of the drug in your body, and you're all of a sudden, you're not regulating your nervous system with the drug, you all of a sudden get excitatory neurotransmitters, and you don't have the inhibition from the serotonin. So your negative thoughts of violence, all of a sudden maybe you're acting out on them, on yourself or somebody else. So, I remember back in the day when I was working in the vitamin department of the health food store in 1989, and the FDA, the serotonin or tryptophan was there was one batch from a company named Shodanko, which had bacterial contamination, and it caused eosinophilial mild syndrome in some people, a white blood cell disorder.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And anyways, the FDA took it off the market, and then I learned and so tryptophan, of course, is the precursor to making your serotonin to make you feel like you're peaceful and you can focus and stuff, and you feel calm. So I remember learning along the way that two FDA officers left the FDA and opened up their own veterinarian dispensary selling tryptophan as a pet supplement. And they made millions of dollars because everybody was ordering it for human consumption from them because it was taken off the market. And then I learned also that the company Shodanko that had made it, when you make amino acids that make your neurotransmitters and you're making them in a free-form state, bacteria are encoded. They tell bacteria in the DNA of the bacteria to make tryptophan or to make epinephrine, or not epinephrine, but tyrosine or phenylalanine or any of the amino acids. And then when you finish that fermentation process of the bacteria multiplying and producing the amino acids, you have to filter out the bacteria and just end up with the amino acids. And so the company Shodanko had eliminated two of the filtration steps, leaving the bacteria in the finished product, which caused people to have an immune reaction.
Sure.
And it was done intentionally because that was when Prozac was introduced to the market. And so the big pharma didn't want any competition. So they did that manipulation like they did.
Which, by the way, led to decades worth of people being scared of tryptophan as a supplement.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And I need to point out for people who are listening right now, Stephen had no idea we were going to be talking about psych med today.
I'm blown away right now. Like, In fact, Stephen even said to us when we brought him here, like beforehand, we made a comment about psych meds and specific bone density and dentition issues. And his exact comment to us, well, I haven't really had anybody write that. Like I
didn't really think about that.
Didn't really there's not a correlation there. I've thought about. So this is coming organically out of this man's mouth without any prep, everyone. So we are hearting you right now, Stephen. And you're going to have to, you're going to have to speak of it in a way that a fifth grader can understand, because you are like one smart son of a gun. Okay. All right. Okay. We got to jump around a little bit. So there is a connection then, at least, that you can make from the scientific mind when it comes to us changing, when we change the brain, how that can actually alter something as simple as like calcium production, or how there can be a correlation that we can connect with the brain and altering it, and then bone density, dentition, things like that.
Yeah. So what I'm going to theorize is that when you interrupt enzyme systems from breaking down neurotransmitters, and medications have a mildly to significantly toxic effect on metabolism. So if you're, because the substance you're taking is foreign, and the other thing I want to say is that, if you study nature long enough and you study natural law long enough, you come to the conclusion that there's this, massive, infinite, omnipresent intelligence called God that makes and creates and sustains everything, and everything's operating on natural laws, including the human body. I mean, just the fact that the human body, once you leave the earth and you're up in space and you're not in the field of gravity and you're outside the field of the human resonance, you lose bone mass, and you get osteoporosis because you're not getting the signals from the 7.83 14 hertz signal. So, when you take a medication, you're taking something created by a company that's only interested in making something they can patent, something that doesn't exist in nature. So it's a foreign molecule. They might have identified the active properties of herbs or natural molecules in nature to change the biochemistry in a beneficial way, but then they alter it. They add an acetyl group, a methyl group, or do something molecularly to change it, so that they can say, well, this doesn't exist in nature. We can patent it and have 14 to 20 years of exclusive sales. So when that's your motive, profit, then you're always going to be violating natural law, making substances that harm biochemistry in the human body. So I teach people that you can treat the symptom of depression with nutrients, or the symptom of hyperactivity with nutrients. Isolated amino acids, cofactor vitamins, minerals. That's pretty easy to do, but you also have to, that's just treating the symptom, because ultimately when you fix your gut microbiome and your overall body chemistry, your pH and everything, and you've got the nutrients, your body's going to sing with joy. You're going to have enough happy neurotransmitters that it's a natural state just to feel happy to be alive. So that's a whole separate subject, but when you're taking a medication, you're taking a toxin, and the definition of our kind of medicine in America and Western medicine is called allopathy. You look up at the definition of allopathy, and it's the introduction of a toxin, a small amount of a toxin to alter symptoms. So that's for listeners out there who are on psych meds, just getting their mind around the concept that what you're doing is a violation of biology, and so there's a better way. So when you take something that's toxic, the liver and kidneys work overtime to try and get rid of it. And so this subtracts from their ability to, kidneys and lungs regulate pH in the body, primarily. And your alkalinity intake in your diet, then that's pretty deficient in our time period. So most people run acidic. So if you're tying up liver function so that it's trying to take care of a toxin, and it can't take care of other functions that regulate pH, and kidney function that can't regulate pH because it's trying to take care of this toxin, then the body's going to fall behind on buffering and neutralizing the acids that it naturally produces. So the body's naturally producing acids as a result of metabolism. So, nitric acid, phosphoric acid, sulfuric acid, lactic acid, all these different acids are produced in our body and our metabolism, and the body's always having to neutralize them. When you convert, carbohydrates into energy, you get carbonic acid. So your kidneys and lungs work to remove that as carbon dioxide, and keep your body in this narrow pH window. 7.35, 7.45 is this pH window that the tissues operate in, and the blood. And so if you're altering that with medication so that your body's struggling and it's not getting rid of all the acids, then the body has to mobilize calcium out of the bone to neutralize those acids. And so bone loss can be occurring theoretically from taking medication that's tying up kidney function so that acids start to build up, and the body has to neutralize those acids by an alternate means, which is to obtain calcium from the bones. And it's also can obtain alkalinity from certain amino acids, so you can deteriorate your joints, your cartilage, and your discs, and even your blood. I mean, sometimes anemia is caused by being acidic, and then the body has to sacrifice a bunch of red blood cells to get histidine and arginine, which can neutralize the acids. And so that's one thing, because when I was mercury poisoned, when I was a teenager.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah. So basically, in 1976, I got 2 dental fillings put into my teeth, and I already had 7 previously, and I was not sick from that. But in 1975, 76, the dental silver prices had gone up, and the economy was such that dentists thought that it wasn't a wise idea to increase the price of their fillings to compensate. So they lowered the level of silver in the fillings and increased the amount of copper. They're called high copper mercury amalgams. And they release 50 to 100 times more mercury as a gas, as a vapor. So while I had those 2 fillings put into my teeth, I developed a sore throat. I left the dental office. The sore throat wouldn't go away for days. Mom took me to the doctor. Doctor put me on antibiotics. 10 days antibiotics. Still had the sore throat. Put on antibiotics for another 10 days. 20 days. Finally on antibiotics, the sore throat went away. But all of a sudden, for the first time in my life, I had constipation. But not just like, take X-Lax. It's like life-threatening constipation. Like 97% shutdown of my bowels. So, I was raised in a family that, if a boy complains of a physical injury or hurt, he's considered a pussy. So, being a young mind and not yet adult in thinking, I didn't complain about what was going on. I didn't share it with anybody. So I just stopped eating. I basically, for 4 years, I barely ate. And I became a vegetarian because I studied, I became a Seventh-day Adventist briefly, and they were vegans. And so I became a vegetarian. So I ate mostly fruit during my developmental years. So that led to adrenal exhaustion when I was 20. And spent 24 years figuring it out. Got the mercury fillings taken out in 91. Didn't make any difference. Wasn't until I did a specific mercury detox in the late 90s, 96, 97, that my bowels started to work again, about 75% normal. But overall, it took about 35 years to heal the gut normal and make it normal again. And
oh my gosh.
So during that time, I had massive fungal growth because mercury in the tissues is like on the periodic table of elements. It's like one of the most potent toxins there is. And so wherever it deposits in your body, it stops the cell from being able to make energy correctly or optimally. So you now start making less ATP and more lactic acid. And so locally, you start to have an anaerobic low oxygen environment because pH controls oxygen. So, that's another thing. It's like just in terms of functioning well in your brain, and making enough ATP to have a sunny disposition, as well as having the neurotransmitters, you have to have enough oxygen in your body for your mitochondria to be making 38 units of ATP for every molecule of glucose. And when you're injured with toxins like mercury or environmental toxins, mercury, cadmium, arsenic, all the aluminum and stuff from chemtrails, all this stuff that's coming down from the sky all the time, then your cells don't make 38 units of ATP for a molecule of glucose. They make 25 units of ATP and a bunch more lactic acid. And that lactic acid accumulates around the tissues, and you start to lower your oxygen from that acid pH. And then that signals spores in the human body that everybody has. And, science has already done studies, and when the body dies, and they've analyzed what grows out of it to decompose it. And they've analyzed 30 different kinds of microscopic mushrooms growing out of the body to decompose it. So there's these spores, and there's 3 primary spores. There's mucorracimosis, there's Aspergillus niger, there's Candida parapsilosis, and Candida albicans. And those spores in an anaerobic environment are signaled to grow into their fungal forms. So all of a sudden you get, Candida albicans. I had coated white tongue for years because of this mercury in my body. My armpits had fungus in them. And So that was my journey with mercury toxicity that, I finally overcome, and I know how to detox the body of mercury. And I grew back the nerves in my intestines because mercury is a nerve toxin, kills nerves on contact. So that's why there's so many autistic kids out there, is because they get these vaccinations that do have mercury in them. Contrary to what they say, they do have mercury in them. All of them have mercury in them because mercury is so toxic, it stops all enzymatic activity. So it acts as a preservative. So no fungus and mold will grow in that little vaccine vial. But it also goes into your body, and then it basically destroys the nerves. It kills them on contact. You can look at the videos online, smoking teeth, poison gas, and mercury and brain neuron degeneration on YouTube. And so some of the depression people have comes from residual mercury that's both in their body, in their brain, in their gut and stuff. And the inability to make energy properly, make neurotransmitters in optimal levels. But part of depression or any unhealthy brain chemistry is an unhealthy digestive tract. So, the gut microbiome, one round of antibiotics destroys all kinds of strains indigenous to your GI tract that do not come back unless you reseed them. Mm-hmm. And all the probiotics out there most of them don't give you the full spectrum of human strains. They give you various strains that have a 3 to 10 day beneficial effect on your gut ecology, and then they die off. So I have a protocol that I developed, which combines first making a yogurt out of 3 probiotics. And I prefer a nut yogurt over a milk yogurt because the nut yogurts have all the fiber, the protein, and the fats that feed the growth of these organisms. When you use milk as your yogurt starter, the lactose is the food source, and the lactose is used up at the end of making the yogurt into lactic acid, which gives it a tart flavor. So the food supply for the organisms is so little that they start to die off. So if you use nuts, soaking nuts, almonds, Brazil nuts, whatever, I start the germination process. I rinse them twice a day for 2 to 3 days, and then I put them in a blender, blend them with water until they're pourable. I add the probiotics, blend that up, and then I put it in a mason jar Pyrex dish in a warm environment, which is my oven, typically with the oven door cracked a little bit so the heat escapes because it gets too hot if your door is totally closed with the oven light on. And then you've got yogurt in 4 to 5 hours. You eat half a cup to a cup of that a day. And then you're constantly inoculating your gut with this first batch of yogurt. It's 3 strains of yogurt, 3 strains of bacteria that produce bacteriocins efficiently. So bacteriocins are chemicals that kill off the fungus, kill off the pathogenic bacteria. And so they're the policemen. They sort of like clear the way so that when you're a month later, you start making yogurt with this one brand I work with called ProGurt. So ProGurt's the only one that's got all the human strains. And so then you start to make the same nut yogurt with this ProGurt. You consume that from months 2 onwards, and you're now reseeding the gut with all the human strains. You're restoring your butyrate levels and all these short-chain fatty acids that heal the gut, and you're increasing the villi length and your intestinal strength, so your muscular tubing gets thicker and stronger. You start to have better peristalsis, and then you're producing, all the neurochemicals again, an optimal level.
I have a quick question here. So, because everyone is talking about gut health, which we understand. But it seems like it's fairly, I'm going to use the word difficult to restore the health of your gut. It's not an easy process, and it certainly doesn't happen overnight. And I would also postulate that if you don't change what's going on, what you're putting in your body, your toxic load, things like that, that it's going to be a perpetual thing. Like it's never going to be the way it needs to be. So, I know people are like, I know I need to improve my gut health, but I'm unwilling to give up A, B, and C thing, right? Mm-hmm. In the long haul. So then you're going to be dealing with this perpetually. So when you're talking about this reseeding, like, do you have to perpetually do this, like, or stop and restart? Like, what is the process for somebody?
So the first yogurt I talked about is 3 strains that act like the policeman. So you do have to get rid of the pathogenic organisms, the fungus and the yeast and the pathogenic bacteria. And that's, sometimes people use herbs to assist that have that ability. But thus far, I had really good results with my brother last year. So I introduced him. I didn't know he had constipation his whole life. So he's 2 years older than me. And so his whole life, he'd have to be super careful, do all these things to make sure his bowels work. And so I got him on this yogurt. He did the first yogurt for a month or 2. And then he transitioned to the Progurt yogurt and did that for the next umpteen months in the nut yogurt form. And at month 8, he's having normal bowel movements for the first time in his life. So that's proof right there. And I fixed my gut too, that you can fix it, but it does require, patience, because you're gradually increasing the amount of the short chain fatty acid production. And it's the short chain fatty acid production, which is bacteria in your gut, beneficial bacteria in your gut, feeding on fiber, which in this case is the nut yogurt, producing the butyrate, producing the valonic acid, producing the propionic acid, the acetic acid that fuels the repair of the gut so that it becomes healthy and hardy. And the bacteria, since they're producing, are constantly creating a policing environment so the bad guys don't grow bad. Mm-hmm. So it is possible, but it does require this 2-step process. And the other thing is that with regards to people's cravings for unhealthy foods, to the degree that I find that a person is either craving stimulation or sedation. So a person either is doing their coffee, sugar,
or alcohol.
The sedation is alcohol, cannabis.
There's your two extremes, right?
Yeah. And so when that's because of the biochemistry of the body. So because the body that would not instinctively think about it, it's like all animals in nature eat what they crave.
Wait, Stephen, time out. So are you saying that people's cravings for things aren't because of a biological abnormality?
No.
They're not genetically screwed? Wait, what?
No. Well, part of it is that your gut microbiome will accommodate what you're eating. And so it will alter itself to metabolize the McDonald's or metabolize the Wendy's food or whatever it is that you're eating. And so then you develop, from the microbiome standpoint, it develops a craving for that lousy food. And so, it does take discipline in terms of changing your diet to change your microbiome so your body starts craving good food. But another part of it is that there's basic nutrients. So, in our time, we use up, our stress levels are maximal. So we've got, negative EMFs, we've got chemtrails, we've got psychological stress, and we've got nutritional stress, and all those combined to make it so that it's like the body is like not in a state of homeostasis and harmony for a lot of people. And so people are trying to restore that by drinking their coffee and by eating their chocolate and or drinking their alcohol or smoking their cannabis. But instinctively, and if you look at any animal in nature, that it won't crave what's not good for it. It will eat what's good for it. So if you take, say, GMO corn and non-GMO corn and put them in 2 different areas, you can release your pigs and they will always go to the one that's normal non-GMO. They will not go to the GMO corn. They will not eat it. Rats won't eat white sugar, and all this. So it's the same for our bodies. They're instinctively not wanting to lower their frequency or lower their vibration to a negative state by introducing something that's not healthy. But you have to restore that instinctive mechanism by taking all the full spectrum of nutrients, one of which is minerals. So I've had people take my mineral supplement. I have a couple mineral supplements, but the one that's called Mineral Magic, and they say, my craving for cannabis went away, or my coffee cravings went away, my chocolate cravings went away. And because the body, when it gets all the minerals, you have 75,000 different enzymes produced in the body, approximately, depending on which text you read. Each enzyme requires a mineral to make it active. So you got all these metabolic enzymes dependent upon minerals. Everyone's mineral deficient because the soils are mineral deficient, and the body's using up nutrients faster than it can get at them from food because of the toxins in the environment, the negative EMFs, and all that. Same with amino acids. Your body takes 8 hours, approximately 8 to 10 hours to break protein down into amino acids and to make a protein, to make a neurotransmitter, to make a neurohormone. And so you're using those amino acids up faster than you're getting at them from proteins, typically in our culture. So sometimes it's valuable, temporarily maybe, to take free form amino acids with the cofactor nutrients, the B vitamins and the pyridoxal 5-phosphate, because that's the B vitamin that needs to convert the amino acid to the neurotransmitter. So if you got the minerals, the amino acids, the fatty acids, that's another one. Fatty acids for the brain. It's like the brain is largely a fat organ, and it needs fat to maintain the repair of its architecture. So, like Rosita cod oil that I carry, that's the only fish oil on the market that's not heated. All the fish oils on the market are oxidized because they use steam distillation, they use hexane, various extraction methods that oxidize it, so it's highly oxidized. But if you use this one Rosita, it's only like 18% oxidation because they don't heat it. It's cold extracted. That's got the DHA EPA that the brain needs to create new brain cell structure. And egg yolks from pastured chickens are really good for the brain. Milk from grass-fed cows, because it's got all the spectrum of fats for the brain. So there's certain nutrients you need in the diet, so the nervous system is being fed the fats, the amino acids, the fatty acids, and the minerals, so that the brain starts to have a structure that is architecturally correct. And so, you can rebuild the body, the gut microbiome and the nervous system, and I've got peptides that I work with. I work with injectable peptides. So, because they've saved my life. And so there's Cmax and pinealon, which are the names of two peptides. Cmax is proven to increase brain-derived neurotropic growth factor, which causes you to create new brain cells and grow new dendrites to connect to new brain cells, because the process of learning is dendrites growing to another brain cell to connect to it. And it's fascinating. I've seen the video footage. It's like amazing. So, and then when you don't repeat what you're learning, if you don't review what you've learned, this connection that was made with that new neuron reaching out and connecting to a new neuron, it deconnects it. It prunes it. And so repeated exposure to whatever you're learning enables it for the connection to remain permanent and a permanent part of your working memory. But because basically all the bad habits people have are learned, and so you have to unlearn that. You have to, take 29 days to grow connections, new nerves, to new dendrites, to new nerves that creates the new habit, the new way of living. So, but it just takes a few weeks to do that.
Takes a lifetime sometimes to do those things. All right. Well, I feel like I just sat through a scientific lecture that I couldn't stop listening to. So I just want to say our time is up, and that went really quickly. I want to thank Stephen for being here. I feel like I could talk to you about multiple different things forever. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say, for folks that want to restore their bone density, there's a website that I have called getbonesofsteel.com. Getbonesofsteel.com.
Bones of Steel.
Yeah, if they go there, they'll learn these products that you take that fix the biochemistry so that you start to create bone density and reverse calcification in your body. And so, because we never did get to that topic and thoroughly in our conversation, so just they can go there and they can learn about it.
No, this is great.
Yes. So thank you for being on the show. If you've hung out with us this far, please make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And that's a wrap for the Gaslit Truth podcast.
Thanks for having me on.
I can't speak. Podcast. Send us your Gaslit Truth at the Gaslit Truth Podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Stephen.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Dr. Teralyn.